Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Karis May, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Corporal Aston Darcy. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from around Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors. But to commence this evening's ceremony, I invite you all to stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this National Memorial and Museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and other operations for over more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Ernie Coyle. Ernie Coyle was born in 1891 to Dominic and Charlotte Coyle. His father ran the hotel at Yamba for some years before the family moved to Dorrigo in New South Wales. He had a large number of of siblings, but in 1896, his 7-year-old brother Patrick drowned in the Clarence River, leaving Ernie and his older brother Joe the only 2 sons in the family. In 1909, Joe left Dorrigo for a job in Grafton. Ernie stayed in Dorrigo, and a year later narrowly avoided being in a house fire that left his mother badly burned around the face. He was known in Dorrigo as a steady, upright and smart young man, and went on to work as a barman at the Imperial Hotel in Moree. After the outbreak of war in August 1914, Coyle made a number of attempts to enlist in the Australian Imperial Force, but was turned down as medically unfit because of his poor eyesight. His brother Joe had also tried to enlist on a number of occasions before he was accepted in November 1915. In March 1916, Ernie was finally successful and went into camp. In April 1916, Corporal Joe Coyle went on to leave from his posting as a clerk at Liverpool camp. On the train on his way back, he fell off the bogie he was sitting on and was crushed. He died in hospital shortly afterwards. Private Ernie Coyle continued training at Rutherford Camp, interrupted by a serious bout of bronchitis. On the 4th of September 1916, he left Sydney on board the troop ship Port Sydney for active service overseas. But Coyle did not make it to the battlefields of France. On the 25th of September, he died at sea of a previously undiagnosed heart condition. He was buried at sea shortly afterwards. The local newspaper lamented that Mr. and Mrs. D. Coyle had only the 2 sons, and it is indeed sad that they should be robbed of both of them. Both had been prepared to fight, but neither had reached the battlefield. Ernie Coyle was almost 24 years old. His brother Joe was 32. The names are listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died whilst serving in the First World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Ernie Coyle, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Could you all please stand for the ode and last post?
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We would like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today, and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.